building, they take their English, math, science, social studies, they come out, they do construction. Take a look.
Yeah. Nice to meet you. Thanks for coming to see our kids. Thanks for really happy that you guys are coming to see what they have to do. Yeah. We're not going to start the river buster up yet because we don't want to get stuff all over the trap and stuff, right? So, but once you guys go inside over there, we got a few other things.
How are you?
Mike, we'll come out like that. Not getting me all the magic happen.
What do you mean? The doghouse.
75%.
Final one by the truck. I was telling him about the old gym. Yo, how are you doing? David, you all right? Yeah, well, you have to be first. Don't get up to the line, and then as you go, it's going to come out first.
You had been here 3 months ago. That our juniors do every year. It's pretty awesome.
It's so nice because it brings in.
In the region, obviously we wanted to pilot at our own school before we disseminate it to the other schools. And our instructors all did the training on it, and we've been utilizing that curriculum. We built it into the Lyuna curriculum that we have, so we use pieces from both of them.
Good, I'm good, I got it.
Got it. Great. Thank you, everybody. There's so many dignitaries in this room. I can tell you that we've been to a few spots and never have we had the horsepower that we have in this room today. But that just speaks to the commitment in the state of Rhode Island, from the policymakers to my brothers and sisters in the building trades to the private sector, to do something more for the people in their communities, for our industry, for our state, and quite honestly, for our country. So if I also went through all the thank yous for everybody that's here, that would take up all my time, and I don't want to bore you because I do want to make some points. Andrew, thank you. This program, I will tell you that back in 2007, I was the Secretary-Treasurer of the Building Trades, and this program was one of the pioneers, okay, in the United States. I want to say there was less than 5 programs in the United States. This was one of them. But we were really starting to aggressively push them because we saw the future, and we were trying to make change in the building trades, trying to shed old reputations and be value added in our communities, to our contractor partners and to our clients. And a guy that worked for me is now retired in Amherst, Massachusetts, Dr. Bob Pleasure. He was not a pornographic star, that's his real name. And the gentleman that runs our program today, our training program, and the National Training Director, chair came to me and they said, you know, we're using this NCEER curriculum in our pre-apprenticeship programs. That's our competition, and we need to develop our own. And I said, okay, I'm good for it. Now remember the timing of this, 2007, heading into the Great Recession. We had lots of turmoil in the national building trades. We lost 4 crafts. We were bleeding money, had liquidity issues, making payroll, and they said to me, it's going to cost $500,000 to develop this curriculum. And I said, we don't have any money, okay? So I get it, I want to do it, but we can't pay for it. And we had a vendor, quite honestly, that Mike knows well. He works with him, with Leon at the international level. And they said, you know what, Sean, we've been working with the building trades for decades, and we know where you're at, and you know what, we'll front you. We'll put the money up, we'll develop, you pay us when you can pay us. And they did that. We developed what we call the MC3 today, but the core curriculum that's used all over the country. And I'm proud to say, you know, from Pioneer here in Rhode Island, less than 5 programs nationally, there's 230 of these programs going across the United States. We have over 15,000 people enrolled in these programs, in these targeted communities, same as this program here in Rhode Island, okay? It's about communities that haven't had an opportunity, sometimes in generations in their family, okay? It's about communities that have been steered towards training programs, going through training programs with an expectation of coming out the other end of that training program and getting not just a job, but a career that's going to lift their family out, and it took them nowhere, okay? It's about people who have had a hard time in their life, okay, and got on the wrong side of the law, and have paid their penalty to society and want a second chance. It's about women. It's a whole bunch about women in our country. In order to grow the construction industry, in order to build the infrastructure that needs to be built in this country to keep us the economic superpower in the world that we currently are, we need women. We need so many more women to come into our trades, all right? But we need programs like this. These are the programs that show people the entryway to registered apprenticeship, how to get there. Okay, the dedicated individuals that run this program, past and present, that do more than just open a door in the morning and start a class. They check on people at night. They sometimes pick them up. They help them get their driver's license. Sometimes they pay for their driver's license. Sometimes they watch their kids. The unbelievable sacrifices that the people that I'm so lucky to call colleagues that run programs like this from coast to coast, especially this program. People have no idea their dedication, and I say something, you know, when somebody on my staff retires that works at the international level, their work is important. It helps lots of people, hundreds of thousands, maybe millions of people, and they'll never meet them or know their name or how they help their family. And I always say when that person is retiring, I say, you know, if they'd have known what you did for them, they would thank you, but they don't know you. So I thank you on their behalf for what you've done for them and what you've done for the people of Rhode Island with this program, and to help shine a light for people like me to push with my talented staff, okay? I spend more than 50% of my time at this point in my career on programs like this. Nothing feels better than when you help somebody. Nothing feels better than when you help somebody. And again, you're pioneers. I don't have to tell you who the Building Trades is. Everybody in this room knows. And if you didn't know, Michael told you 100 times. I know that. But let me just tell you a little bit about some of the scale of us, the men and women that make up the Building Trades. There's 3 million families that we represent in North America. And I had the opportunity to tour the Armand Sabatoni Charter School this morning. And there's one person I want to mention personally, because for years Armand's been a mentor and a Dutch uncle to me in helping me to understand parts of my job that I didn't understand. And I'm so thrilled that he is now enjoying himself for the work that he's done for a lifetime of lifting families up, not just here in Rhode Island, not just in the Northeast, but across North America. So my friend Armand, so let me just tell you, the Building Trades training infrastructure, okay, I've told you we have over 230 of the apprenticeship readiness programs going, like this one today across the country. We've got much more work to do. But our registered apprenticeship system, we have over 1,600 training centers in the United States. We spend $2 billion, in excess of $2 billion of our money. When I say our money, our members contribute that money on their check every week in conjunction with our contractor partners to fund these programs. If we were a K through 12 school district, we'd be the 5th largest school district in the United States. We have over 280,000 people in our training programs today. Okay? If we were a state university system, we'd be the 3rd largest in the United States after University of California and SUNY New York. We make up 52% of the entire registered apprenticeship system in the United States. The 2nd largest player in the registered apprenticeship system in the United States is the United States military at about 19 or 20%. We train 75% of all the registered apprentices in the construction industry in the United States. There's only one institution in the world that trains more people in hard skill sets than we do, and that's the United States military. And I got to tell you, people with foresight and vision like Armand and the ones that came before him saw this. There's a reason why the Building Trades has not only survived but thrived through our training infrastructure, producing the most highly skilled, most productive, safest craft workforce in the world, keeping our doors open in good times and bad, making sure that we're backfilling as members retire or people leave our industry. The investments that they made for now 100 years in our training system is just incredible to me. And then being recognized with the registered apprenticeship system, ours started with the guilds coming over from Europe, and then the Fitzgerald Act in the 30s during the Roosevelt administration. Okay? Those investments tied to our hiring halls have lifted more people out of poverty, more immigrants to this country, got their opportunity through the Building Trades and through our training system, working with our signatory contractors, and then starting to understand how do we help more people. Well, let me tell you how we help more people, Governor, and you're doing it here, and Mr. Mayor, you're doing it here. You do it through project labor agreements. Okay, you do it through project labor agreements where you say, not only are we going to build this project union, but we're going to make sure that the people that live in the communities where this project is going to be built have an opportunity to participate, not in a job just when whatever we're building gets built and gets open, but in the construction of that facility. Okay, that's what we're all about. And we couldn't do it if without governors, we couldn't do it without public policymakers who believe in project labor agreements. Our friends in the Congress supporting us, you know, our opponents always taking shots at us. Well, in the last month or so, I guess, you know, we've had two opportunities just to show our strength. And you know, we're all good Democrats in this room, but we need a couple of Republican friends once in a while, okay? And we had a repeal of PLAs and the President's executive order on project labor agreements in committee in the House, and we were able to knock that down because we were able to deliver 7 Republican votes, okay? And I will tell you another story about the gigantic pieces of legislation. This administration, this president, Joseph R. Biden, there's no secret that we are working very, very hard with our membership across the United States, particularly in battleground states, okay, who have been jaded and persuaded, in some cases, to not recognize what's in their own best economic interest for their family. And this president passed the rescue bill. We had a multi-employer pension problem in this country, in the building trades and across that system. And in that $2.1 trillion bill, there was $86 billion. 5% of the total of that bill was a fix for the multi-employer pensions for our members in struggling multi-employer pension plans across this country and others. There was a child care tax credit. There was a game changer for the people who are responsible in our membership and in our apprenticeship schools with taking care of the child care for their family. It gave them the resources that they needed to keep their children in quality, affordable child care settings while they went and earned a living. There were so many pieces to that were so critical. At the time, if you remember, there was COBRA benefits to pick up the health and welfare costs for people who lost their jobs during COVID. Next came the infrastructure bill, okay? Something that every politician in Washington, and I've been there since 1999, has talked about doing ad nauseum, especially the last character that was in there, where it was just became a running joke. This president said, I'm going to do infrastructure. And this president passed the largest infrastructure bill in the history of the country. And I want to tell you, you know, a little inside baseball, because as talking to Mike last night, I'm just a glazer from Philadelphia, okay?
Yeah.
I barely got through high school, and I'm lucky I graduated apprenticeship school. I don't know if I could meet the standard that we require today. But to be lobbied or be called by the speaker 3 times before she put the bill on the floor and ask how many Republican votes we could deliver, and have the White House doing a vote check with us to see how many Republican votes we could deliver, because 6 members of the Democratic Party were taking a walk on that bill. And we delivered 13 Republican votes. That bill passed. The president knows, as the quote was in Politico, just when, and I'll paraphrase, just when the president's signature legislative achievement was about to go down in flames, in rode the building trades on their white horse to deliver the vote. Then we passed the CHIPS Act. I can't even explain to you the scale of that. Okay, then the Inflation Reduction Act. Again, people have no idea. I know you do, Governor. I know Michael does. People have no idea. That started out as a $358 billion bill. That's already at $700+ billion. That'll be over $1 trillion, okay? And one other shout out I want to give, and thank you, okay, to the Rhode Island building trades, the policymakers in Rhode Island, and particularly Michael and Scotty. Because of what you did with Orsted's first offshore wind project, you proved that we could do it on time, on budget, at middle-class, family-sustaining union wages, and we've got labor standards that we passed in the Inflation Act for the first time in history that are now embedded in our tax code. That rule book could not support. So all this creates this opportunity for us. This is the greatest opportunity we've had since the end of World War II, in my opinion. Since the greatest generation came home and freed us from tyranny, okay? And went about building their lives, building their families, and building the greatest middle class in the history of the world. We're at that same place right now because of public policymakers and the leadership of President Biden and Vice President Harris right now. We have in excess of $4 trillion worth of public investment, which will, governors are better at this than me, which will leverage out to probably 15 or 20 trillion over the next 20 years. If you want a stable long-term career with good benefits, safe working conditions, and the ability to securely put your family and keep them in the middle class, now's the time to be in the building trades. Come join the building trades. Yeah. We want you. Our doors are wide open. We want programs like this to continue to flourish and to help us with the diversification of the building trades. We need everybody to come and help us build the infrastructure of the future in this country. We've got a just transition. You've heard people bandy that word about for years. I know me and Michael have been in the trenches with Lyon over pipelines and other things. And our argument was, when do we get the just transition? Don't tell us we have to take green jobs where we got to cut our pay 3/4 and put our members in poverty because of this transition. Let's figure out how we do a just transition. Well, we figured it out because we put labor standards in the IAF, and you're going to get paid prevailing wages in publicly financed projects in the IAF. That's a just transition. Now, I'll end with this. I have now 2 times in my life, like I said, I'm a glazer, barely got through high school.
Nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that. And twice that President of the United States, and Governor, I'm sure, knows, you know, he's very intimate when he talks to you. Okay? And how do you thank a person that did what he did for us? How do you thank a person that is helping to save the democracy of our country? And not only that, is setting the path, okay, to maintain and build the middle class in the United States. How do you thank him for the trillions of dollars worth of work that the men and women that we have the pleasure to represent are going to have the opportunity to work? And as I try to thank him, he just puts his hands on my shoulders and he gets right in my face, nose to nose, and he says, I only want one thing from you, Sean. I want one thing from the building trades. Just one thing.
One more. Re-elect.
I want you to reach into every small hamlet in this country. I want you to go into every inner city in this country. I want you to take your training infrastructure. I want to take your apprenticeship readiness programs, and I want to give you you in the building trades, to give every damn family that hasn't had an even shot in this country to get to the middle class through that. Through my public investment and your training and your commitment, you do that, that's the thanks. Because my legacy at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, I'm gone, Sean, well, not only did I stop the slide of the middle class in this country, but I started the upward trajectory. And I can report back to the president, in Rhode Island, they're doing it. Thank you very much for the opportunity to be here.